All right, good afternoon, everybody. For the first time in a long time, we're actually tracking some heavy rain that is moving through the area right now. It's been over a month for some people that have not seen this much rain. So it's a good thing, but we're also tracking some strong storms as well. No current warnings, but there are some advisories that have been issued. You can see a lot of the red is actually along the Tennessee-Mississippi state line, stretching back into Arkansas around Forest City. Meteorologist Danielle Moss is here with me. Danielle, let's zoom into Shelby County right now because this rain has moved in. And actually, we were just talking a few moments ago because there's two lines that may come through, this one and then another one later this evening. But with this having so much heavy rain right now, it may actually limit some of the energy for the later line that moves through. So Danielle, let's zoom into some of the heavier pockets. One thing I will tell you, since it hasn't rained in so long, the streets are going to be covered in oil and all kinds of stuff that comes from the cars where the water just doesn't mix, and that makes the streets extra slippery when it hasn't rained in this long of a time period. So please be careful. Memphis International Airport, some very heavy rain right now. This will affect flights in and out of the city. So expect delays coming in and leaving. The good news is at least it's moving, but we want to keep it moving too because we don't want any localized flooding. Germantown, you're about to get heavy rain. Memphis International, heavy rain right now. Whitehaven, heavy rain. There is lightning in here too. And where you see the purple, there could be perhaps some small hail as well. So that's another thing that we're watching where Danielle is circling here west of Highway 61, west of Whitehaven. This all moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour or so. Here's downtown Memphis right here. There's the I-40 bridge. It goes into Arkansas. So the bulk of this now is inside Shelby County. Weather Service also looking at another few cells just to our north, but no warnings right now. No watches, but we are on here because did want to let you know what is going on. And hey, it's been a while since we've had a situation like this. So here's some of the storm tracks. Danielle, I'm going to let you take it away now with the storm tracks. And also, before you toss back, check in with the Weather Service, see if we're getting any new information as far as our second chat update.
Okay, yes. So if you are in Orange Mound, now, like John said, we are not seeing any warnings right now, but as we call out your city, we just want you to be prepared that heavy rain is definitely headed your way with some thunder, maybe even some lightning. So Orange Mound, U of M at 240, Oak Court at 242, Parkway Village at 243, even East Memphis. Now that just kind of updated on us. There's also heavy rainfall moving through the Arlington and Lakeland area. So if you live in Oakland or Williston, that's going to be around at 305. The good thing is these storms we aren't seeing much rotation with them. Definitely some heavy rainfall right now and possibly some hail. That has been the biggest concern. We're checking in with the National Weather Service. They have a special weather statement out for Hardeman, Haywood, and Madison counties until 3 o'clock this afternoon. And that's because of some high winds as well with those storms. And there's also a special weather statement for Shelby County, Tipton, Fayette, DeSoto, and Marshall counties in Mississippi, as well as Crittenden County in Arkansas. So if we widen our view just a little bit to our demographic, you can see that this small line of storms is still causing some high winds as it continues to push eastwards through our viewing area right now. There's multiple areas that have some heavy rainfall. We are just, that's our main concern, heavy rain and some high winds. We're going to pull up one of our graphics here to show you what the winds are. And John, I think this is really interesting. As the storm continues to move through, the winds are kind of picking up just a little bit there.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you're right. I mean, that's why I think the special weather statement is out because we have had winds that are going to gust over 30 miles per hour. Let me also say this. If you have, it might be too late for some of you. If it's raining and thundering where you are, don't go do it now. But if it's not where you are, it's not raining or thundering, go tighten down that outdoor furniture or bring your pillows in or whatever because they're going to go flying away. Any Halloween decorations?
Get out my head. Yeah.
Minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Halloween decorations, anything that is loose and light, but we do not want you to go out in the middle of a thunderstorm, obviously, and do that. Level 2, risk of severe weather today. Yesterday, we were under a level 1. This morning, Storm Prediction Center upgraded this to a level 2. That's all the areas in yellow. And the green is a level 1. So really, the further south you go, the higher of a threat there is. Also, I want to say this, since it has not yet rained in our North Mississippi counties, or at least a lot of our counties, that is going to be the area that will be focused more on going into the future, into the early evening, because this is undisturbed atmosphere here. And that could be an area where supercell thunderstorms form this afternoon. And if that's the case, we would really have to watch out for the possibility of gusty winds and some hail as well. So just because we've got this line moving through now doesn't mean we're done, but it may help later as the actual cold front comes through and brings another line. This may help to stabilize things. Also, the days are a lot shorter now. They're not near as long as they are in August and September, so the sun sets a lot quicker, and that allows less time for the atmosphere to recover with energy, and we're just doing real-time analysis now. You can look at models all day long, but sometimes they're wrong. But this one shows at 7 o'clock tonight that we'll have another round come through, and like I said, North Mississippi probably this evening is going to be the area where we'll be watching the most for the highest threat of any severe weather. I think that will shift from north to south as the evening goes along. And again, the brighter purples and reds, that's where the strongest of the storms are. Just to give you an idea of how to interpret all these colors, red is really strong. Purple is very strong. And also, hey, Danielle, pop on the, come back out a little bit again, and pop on the hail path, because I want it, yeah, here it is right here. This shows, you see this purple right here? This indicates the possibility of hail. Now, and this is our hail tracker, actually. So it takes data and then it shows where it's going, but it's got a history of 2 counties now of purple. So there's probably some small hail from Mumford over to Brownsville and maybe back into Arkansas as well. But this is a really good hail signature here that there at least has been some. If you get any reports, hey, tweet us, Sunny D WX _WX.
Yes.
Okay. You can also tweet me at Weatherman John as well. We'd love to see any weather pictures that you can safely take from your camera. Also, you can download our app should you lose power. You can continue to watch us on our app. I've had a lot of people tell me that that's very helpful in situations like this. This is not a severe weather outbreak, but it goes to show we are now in our secondary severe weather season, which, to be honest with you, as our climate continues to change, our secondary severe weather season going all the way back to about 2000, 2005, something like that. Some of the strongest storms have been in October, November, and December, even January. So not your traditional March, April, May. Now we're in October and going forward and getting closer to Halloween and Thanksgiving. We're probably going to see more of these events as the warm and the cold air collide and clash with each other, and the cold air is trying to win out, but it's still October and it's not. Okay, Danielle, let's come back into the metro area, a little bit tighter view here. Pop on the lightning for me if you would, because I did notice at one point there was about 82 strikes. Now we're down to about 33. That is a good sign. It doesn't mean the storm is over, but it is a good sign. Although there is this purple cell right here in southern Crittenden County, that is about to cross the Mississippi River, and this is one to watch right here. That could have some small hail in it as it gets ready to cross into Shelby County. It looks like that one's headed toward Whitehaven, and so what can you expect? You can expect heavy rain, gusty wind, and Whitehaven. You may also have some small hail, thunder, and lightning. And I don't know if we can pop a T-dot up or anything, but certainly you don't want to be driving around in this mess because, like I said, the streets are extra slick because they have not had water on them, a lot of water for over a month in some cases, and you get that oil dripping from the cars. Oil and water just doesn't mix, and it really makes for slippery streets. So after you've gone a while with that rain, you're looking at I-40. This is going into Arkansas. So if you're coming off Front Street, getting onto I-40, this is going to be westbound. Here comes eastbound traffic into the city. Looks like right now things are flowing okay. Timing actually not bad because we're well ahead of rush hour, and you can see the cars and vehicles going into Memphis. This is on the Arkansas side here. Not a heavy volume of traffic, and the people that are driving seem to be driving responsible and slowing it down on the road. So if there is any good news in here, it's that this did not come through at rush hour, and maybe, just maybe, it will settle down the atmosphere when that second line comes through and round 2 comes in later this evening with the actual cold front. This is going to drop our temperatures significantly. Danielle, tell everybody what you're looking at right now.
Yeah, so I'm looking at our threat tracker. It lets us know exactly what we're looking for, what has happened in the storm as it is developing. So the purples that you're seeing, that means that there's been some possible hail. There's even some pink, especially if you look at this system that moved through Brownsville, Tennessee. I'll go ahead and circle it for you. That definitely tells us that there was probably some good-sized hail right there in that storm. And that storm is continuing to push east. It is headed towards Jackson. So, you know, around 3:10 p.m., that's where you're looking at some high winds, some possible hail, and definitely some heavy rain at times. I like looking at this too, John, because it lets us know exactly how severe or how strong these storms are.
I think that's the strongest. I think you're on it.
Yes, and especially the pink area that is on your screen there. It tells us a lot about how strong these are. Here's another pink area. This is near Marion. Right near Edmonston, and you can see there's another pink area there, which definitely indicates some hail. And if we go to hail path, there you go. There's more purple on your screen. That indicates even more hail. And that's been our main concerns here all afternoon, high winds and hail as this storm continues to push eastward. Right now, they just issued another strong thunderstorm statement for Benton, Carroll, Decatur, and Henderson, Tennessee until 3:15.
Okay, how does it have that activity moving with that new statement that just came out?
It is moving southwestern, northwest Henderson. It says a strong thunderstorm will impact portions of northwestern Henderson, southwestern Benton, southeastern Carroll, and northern Decatur counties in 3:15. The gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. And the winds are in excess of 40 miles an hour, and they are definitely considering some pea-sized hail. It is moving east at 40 miles an hour.
All right, well, you know, we had some severe thunderstorm warnings earlier today in Arkansas, just outside of our area, and now this has moved into our area. Quite honestly, I thought we would be getting in more reports of hail than we have because our radar is certainly showing that threat. And look, it's still raining in Shelby County just because the situation has gotten a little bit better in northern parts of Shelby County. It's still pretty active on this southern flank and into Crittenden County as well. And these are storms that contain heavy rain and are really not going to be fun driving in and through. The good news is this has not turned out to be an outbreak type day. Now, sometimes when you get in level 1s and level 2, which we are in a level 2 this time of year, you can have outbreaks. You can have a full outbreak. I just don't think everything came together today. As I was walking outside, sometimes you just get that feel that, oh my goodness, it's this time of year and it feels this way, and those things just don't add up. Yes, it has been warm, and with a cold front, there are storms, but to me, at least for now anyway, it doesn't have that tornado feel when I walked outside for the first time this morning. We'll see what happens though in North Mississippi. You're not out of the woods, and again, still some flight issues probably going on at Memphis International. national as we speak. The heaviest is the red right here, Fayette County. We talked about you. Haywood County, we had a pretty good wind signature gust earlier. But Danielle, do we have anything as far as hail reports or wind reports that they have officially, without just radar signatures, mentioned?
There's one in Lexington, Tennessee, which is in Henderson County. A large tree fell on one of the hand operator's house and possibly hit his car as well. But that was in Henderson, and that's what they just issued that special weather statement for.
Okay, so that Lexington, which is just outside our area, that apparently, so far, thankfully, is all we have. One thing we'll be watching later this afternoon is this activity developing on the southwestern side of this cluster of a mess of storms. That is something that we're really going to be watching, especially as it moves into North Mississippi. And like I said, there hasn't been as much rain in North Mississippi. The energy, there's a little bit more energy down there. And the atmosphere has not been interrupted by storms. This is it. Danielle stepping you through the time, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. So it's not going to be done by 5 or 6 o'clock. Now, the worst of it for Metro Memphis may be over, but then this is all going to shift south into our North Mississippi counties later on this afternoon and evening. I do think the worst of it, as far as strong, severe type cells that would go severe, after 8 o'clock, things are going to get better. May not stop raining, but after sunset, things are going to get better. And like I said, the days just aren't as long now as they are back in August or even a September. Days are really short. Look at this right here. Danielle, I think this map tells a really good story. Because the winds in there are probably 20 to 30 miles per hour, maybe even some isolated higher gusts. So I'm glad you're showing this map as these winds converge in between Tunica and Wynn, and a pocket of those may slide into Shelby County. I wish we could query this map. I don't believe we can, but that is a good indication of winds that are, or air mass that are colliding, the warm and the cold over here. So that'll be an area to watch. Our tornado indicator, thankfully, I think the highest I've seen today is a 2.5. Have you seen anything higher?
Yeah, 2.5 is about
we start to get over 3 and we get into 4s. That's really when we become concerned, because the closer you get to 10, that is the worst. It gets worse, steadily worse and worse. But with these numbers under a 2.5, we want to keep it that way because it is October, and you do have the clash of air masses, and we are in secondary severe weather season, so tornadoes are always possible. But so far today, we have, and actually we are in a threat of tornadoes from the Storm Prediction Center. I know they had us in that 2% hatched area earlier this morning. When I got up, I noticed that. So it's still possible, just not probable.
Right. The area that we were just looking at where the high winds were, right in St. Francis, Arkansas, they just issued a special weather statement for that area for Crittenden, Cross, and St. Francis. Now, when they issued these are not severe thunderstorm warnings. They're just a special weather statement. There's two separate things. It doesn't meet the criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. So it just lets you know, okay, this is what's going on in your area. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they are saying. The winds are in excess of 30 miles an hour, like you said, John, with some pea-sized hail. All radar indicated. Gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Like we were saying, you definitely want to go ahead and make sure that all of your outdoor things are secured if it's not raining. If it's already raining, then it's a little bit too late for that. So if you are in these locations, Forest City, Hughes, Madison, Village Creek State Park, Widener, Anthonyville, Jeanette, New Home, Kate, Cottonwood Corner, Browns, Newcastle, Round Pond, Blackfish. Those are some of the neighborhoods and some of the little towns there that are being impacted from this storm specifically. And John, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can talk a little bit about that area.
Yeah, and maybe even if you can put a track on it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Some of those that cell that you're watching where we saw the high winds. The great thing about our weather team and our weather technology is we've got so many different tools that we can use to show you what's going on, and that wind map we just had a moment ago was a great just a great observation to show you the tools that we have to help protect you and keep you and your family and friends safe. So here is a very important track, because those high winds, which we just took a look at, are headed in this direction. Horseshoe Lake at about 323. Gosh, I know you guys need rain, but it's too late for so many. Lake Cormorant at 329. The casinos in Tunica, not the casinos in Arkansas. That's going to be at 329. Walls, Mississippi at 332. Again, you can expect high winds as these cells come through your area. Whitehaven, we talked about you at 340. Horn Lake at 341. The Landers Center, and also South Haven at 344. So not done yet. This back edge does seem to have a punch on it, and we're talking winds over 40 miles per hour. Like I said, if you're in northern Tunica County, it looks like it is a little bit too late around the casinos to secure any outdoor furniture. But if you're in North Mississippi and it's not raining on you, I would say the city of Tunica, if you don't hear thunder, it'd be a good idea to get outside and secure that furniture. Where it has rained or where you are hearing thunder, it's not worth the risk to go outside and do that, because if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. Danielle.
They just they upped the watch probability, which I thought was really interesting. Earlier it was at 40%, now it's at 60%, and it is for southern Arkansas and northern Mississippi. So that is exactly where you're talking about, where it has not really rained yet. Parts of Arkansas in our viewing area has not gotten rain. I know some of us have gotten plenty of rain this afternoon, not enough to clear this drought, but definitely they're concerned about the damaging wind gusts and hail as the main severe threats. And it does say a tornado or two is possible for that area.
All right. So like we were just talking about, while this doesn't look like it's an outbreak situation, we are in secondary severe weather season, and those areas in North Mississippi. In fact, why don't you put up, I don't know, like a 6-hour total precip map, just something to show people where it has rained and where you have more rain. Look at those winds now. That's impressive. That's really impressive. That cell is something that needs to be watched, the one that we've been tracking. But again, areas where it has not rained, if you have not received rain today and you live in North Mississippi, you have a higher chance of severe weather over the next couple of hours, especially Danielle talking about that watch. That the Storm Prediction Center, they are the ones that put out the watch. They said there was a 40% chance about an hour ago. Well, they just updated that to a 60% chance of a watch, meaning conditions are favorable for southern Arkansas and North Mississippi. And here it is. You can basically see a good bit of the counties in North Mississippi where it has not rained, but some of these rainfall rates are impressive. And then you go down into East Arkansas also. So we're talking, I would say, from Forest City to South Haven to Corinth, however you want to say. You could say it many ways. All the way down into our southernmost counties, down to Clarksdale, Batesville, Oxford. You guys looking at the next couple of hours. And I really do think the worst would be from about 3 to 6 o'clock tonight. If there is a tornado threat, maybe from now until 7. So over the next 3 to 4 hours in North Mississippi as this cold front comes through. There is obviously more moisture around with this system. Now, we had a big drop in temperatures with a cold front about a week ago, but we didn't have this. The reason is there wasn't hardly any moisture. You have to have moisture to have severe weather, and we do have that component today, and that's why we are somewhat concerned that some of these cells still could go severe and have damaging wind, hail, a brief tornado, or all three of those. So we're not out of the woods yet until that front passes. But like I said, the good news is at least it is moving. And once the cooler air starts to come in, there will be no more threat. This is the updated. Is this updated?
Yes, somebody's asking if they're going to get more rain in Horn Lake. So I wanted to show, what our HRRR is showing for the next couple of hours. So I know that Horn Lake is not getting much rain right now, but there is more rain coming. So what John is about to talk you through is what our Futurecast is showing us for the next couple of hours. And you can see definitely some development in North Mississippi. You can see in Clarksdale and Tunica, and it continues over the next few hours. And then this is the main line that is in front of that cold front around 7 p.m. Still some rainfall and some strong pockets of storms around 8 p.m. But the more rain we can get before this line moves in, the better it will be. And then it's all done by 10 p.m. and then we'll be dry until Saturday night or Sunday, which is good news for us. We definitely need the rain, but it's very important for you to remember that we are at a level 2. A few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were at a level 1 and there was a tornado warning issued. So we never want to let our guard down. So even though we're only concerned about high winds right now and hail, we can't say that a tornado warning cannot be issued, because if the rotation is just right, if there's shear, all those things are things that we take into account when going with these tornado warnings and the National Weather Service issues them. We're going to be here. We're going to be watching it all for you. But yes, Horn Lake is going to get some more rain. This is definitely not the end of it. Probably even some more heavy rain. Here's another look at our radar. We'll zoom in a little bit to North Mississippi so you all can see what's happening right now. Just some scattered, isolated thunderstorms at the moment. There are what we call skits, so you can see exactly how strong the storms are. Around 2.2 there, which is still not our highest. So you're definitely hearing some rain. You can see the hail probability is around 60%. So there's a 60% chance that you all are seeing hail. Obviously, we're in the studio, so we can't see. So if you want to comment your pictures in our comment section, we would definitely appreciate that. Kind of help us out. If you can do it safely, that is the most important. Moving through South Haven right now, you can see this storm is 1.8, which is not bad, but it has a 50% hail probability. And sometimes hail is the reason why a severe thunderstorm warning is issued. So you just kind of never know. They have issued 2 more significant weather statements for Chester, Henderson, and Madison County until 3:30, and Marshall and Benton, Fayette, and Hardeman.
I want to go to that Marshall County storm because it somewhat is kind of off by itself on that very southern edge, and it looks like it could be developing. And it's just to the west of Holly Springs, and it's about to cross I-22. To me, that structurally has more of an impressive signature than any of the others. The one that Danielle is circling right there, I think that's one to watch.
Right, I can do a track on that one.
Yeah,
John.
let's track that. I was going to wrap up our coverage here before we get ready to do some TV stuff, but I don't want to now because I want to focus on this storm and see what happens. Let's just say if nothing happens, guys, and ladies and whoever's involved in the production here, let's wrap it up about 3:05. But I want to keep it going because I want to see what happens with this storm in Marshall County because it is a little bit concerning. And Holly Springs, 324. We're talking about Snow Lake Shores at 344 and Ashland at 350. Of course, Holly Springs, I know you're sensitive this time of year to severe weather. The awful tornado that hit 2 days before Christmas back in 2015. So we always think about you guys as we get later in the year. I'll never forget working that day. But this is not, I don't believe, one of those situations, but it just goes through your head. I know you never forget it. If you were living in Holly Springs 2 days before Christmas in 2015, an awful tornado went from the Mississippi Delta all the way through Holly Springs and up into West Tennessee, and it was a terrible day. But thankfully, I don't believe this is one of those situations, but I do believe this is a storm to watch. Danielle, will you put on the shear rate for me?
Yes.
Just to see. Okay, that's not too bad. What about storm relative velocity? This is, I know I'm getting technical here, and what we would be looking for if we were trying to find a tornado is different colors on that last one. But this purple shows, this is kind of you see at the top of your screen, it says threat tracker. It basically takes hail, high winds, chance of a tornado, heavy rain, all of those components, and it combines it into one threat. And that's why we have our threat tracker here. And you can see the colors in here in eastern Tate County as this cell begins to now push into Marshall County and head toward Holly Springs. Although I think the worst of it's going to stay just to your north, Holly Springs. But you are in the path of it, and you're at least on the eastern side of the cell. So that is one to watch over the next 3 minutes or so, guys. And we'll just go ahead and wrap it up about 3:05 because we've got some things we've got to do to get ready for TV stuff. Of course, if we're on the air, we're going to be online anytime anyway. So bookmark wherever you're watching this, on your phone, your tablet, wherever, bookmark it because you may need it later this afternoon, and we'll be back on every platform we need to be to get information to you out timely to keep you safe. The rotation tracker, Danielle, I'm going to let you give some of your final thoughts. Okay. And just if you're hearing anything from the Weather Service, we'll come back to me and then we'll wrap it up for now.
I'm going to do a DMA view for us because they are talking about SPS now for Lee and St. Francis County in Arkansas. And I'm going to actually turn the relativity back on. And that is still from that same storm where the winds were really significantly high. And I think that's really part of the big weather story this afternoon is high winds. We've seen some really interesting videos of, the Mississippi River is dry right now on Mud Island, and we've seen dirt and dust being blown around, leaves, the season is changing. So leaves are dying, they're flying around, all this debris, even though that might not seem significant, however, that could cause our drainage systems to be clogged. So that means that any rain that we get, if the drains aren't working, we could see some ponding on roadways and definitely some flooding of some streets. So you definitely want to take it very slow out there. You can see the winds are still high as the system continues to move through. And this is not the end of it. We are definitely anticipating another line to come through, especially for North Mississippi right now, because it just hasn't been enough rain there to kind of stabilize the atmosphere. And it's been warm and sunny and above average temperatures all day long. Trevor made this nice graphic for us today, so he'll be happy if he's watching to see this on air. This is our storm threats. You can see in the yellow, we have a low chance of damaging winds, so gusts 50 to 60 miles an hour. We've seen gusts already up to 30. Pea and dime size hail, definitely see some hail, especially in Arkansas before we were on the air. The flooding is minimal, however, it is still likely just because it is fall and the leaves falling off. We haven't had any rain to clear the drains, definitely a small concern. And just like I read earlier, there is a 60% possibility, for 60% possibility for a watch, and that means the tornadoes could be possible. We're not thinking of that as a strong threat, but you do want to make sure that you are aware of everything that we are watching for this afternoon.
Yeah, good point. I mean, like you said, the seasons are changing. And so you're going to get these battles in the atmosphere. The cold air tries to win out, and this warm air that just seems to just hang out longer and longer each year that goes by. But yeah, this is a situation right now. We are not out of the woods in West Tennessee. There is additional activity developing back here with some gusty winds and, of course, North Mississippi, and we'll be watching for that watch. And you can get complete information, up-to-date information on our app, ABC24, on our website, abc24.com. We will be having a cut-in coming up on ABC 24, so you can check us out at 3:21. And also, I invite you to join us for ABC 24 News at 5 tonight, ABC 24 News at 6. We'll have continuing coverage on this still developing weather situation. For meteorologist Danielle Moss, I'm John Bryant, and we'll probably see you a little bit later on.